Hello everybody, hopefully we're live. I'm going live and doing a live sew along along with the team at Sew Over It for the Big Sew 2004. Apologies if you can hear my washing machine in the background. I was just waiting for a load of laundry to spin, but yeah. Life gets in the way, doesn't it? Right, okay, today I hope to be making a roll neck top. I am making the Trudy turtleneck from Wardrobe by Me. I chose this pattern because I'd already made it up. I've got the PDF all stuck together and shortened for my size, so I knew it would fit and I know how it goes together. You can also use patterns like this with a roll neck. You can use Pattern Emporium Keep It Simple Babe with the roll neck version. You can use Sew Over It's Ultimate T-shirt because that also has a roll neck add-on. You can use Style Arc's Alexi top. And what else can you use? Or you can use Itch to Stitch Hepburn top. There's quite a lot of roll neck tops out there. Just choose your favourite. So I've got my top already cut out. Oh, I haven't got my light on. I'm so sorry. I might have just one tick. Ta-da! The lights are on. That's better. I've got my blinds closed in my workroom. Got my lights on and I'd completely forgotten to put my ring light on, so that makes it a lot better, doesn't it? So I am making the roll neck top in some lovely red cotton viscose jersey. This is from Tia Knight. I chose red because it's the Big Sew logo. That's red, so that's why I've chosen red. So it's all cut out and I've got my cuppa ready and I'm just about to start stitching. My aim is to get as far as I can within an hour making the top. It might not work, it might fail miserably, but hey, that's what live streaming is all about, isn't it? So let's get started. I'm going to have to just move my workroom around a little bit. So I'm going to have to move my camera, not that much. Oh, just one second, I'm having technical difficulties here. There we go, I'm so sorry about that. What I'm going to do is to move my camera into the corner of the room and move it around as I need to. So I'm just going to move this into the corner, my ironing board into the corner. And move that. So we'll have to be moving around quite a bit, but this is how, you know, live sewing is, isn't it? So if I just get my bits and pieces, my chair and all my bits and pieces, I will start sewing. I'm not going to do sort of a tutorial, but I will yeah, I'll be sewing as I go, so you'll see me sewing. So let's get started. Has anybody joined us yet? Oh yeah, there are. Hello everybody. Oh, you just caught me having a bit of a technical problem because my tripod just fell down and just like went all haywire. Anyway, that's all sorted now. So you're going to find me doing my stitching. I'm doing stitching my top mainly on the overlocker, with a little bit of sewing on the sewing machine. I'm all set up. I'm literally going to be sewing live. So I've got my threads on my overlocker. My seam allowance is, I believe it's 7mm. Let's just check. Don't want to get that wrong, do we? It is, yeah, 7mm seam allowance for the Wardrobe by Me Trudy turtleneck. I'm going to grab my pins. There we go. Right, so let's get started. I don't know how many of you I've made a roll neck top before. I mean, it's, you know, it's fairly straightforward really. If you've made a top before with a round neck, it's just a matter of, you know, adding the roll neck to it. The principles are the same. So let's get started. I don't know what's happening over on the Sew Over It sew-a-thon or sewing marathon there. They'll have been going for about 4 hours. So I think it's probably time for lunchtime or stopping for a cup of tea. I've got my cup of tea already. So let's take my pattern pieces off. That's the back. Pattern piece off the back there. And I'm going to take the pattern piece off the front. There we go. I use pins for my cutting out. I think it might have been easier to use a rotary cutter with this fabric, but I don't have a very large cutting mat, so I have to shuffle my mat around, and I cut out when I'm kneeling down on the floor. So yeah, I was madly cutting this out before 2 o'clock. So I've just cut it out, which is a bit of poor planning on my part. But that's just me. Let's just adjust this a little bit. So that, there we go, you can see more and less of the blind behind me. Is that better? Yes, just slightly, isn't it? Right, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to overlock my shoulders together. Now, if you follow the Sew Over It pattern for the Ultimate T-shirt, it tells you to stabilise the shoulder seams. Now, that's something I don't do anymore, although I have done that in the past. I tend to keep, that's Max, my dog, wanting to come in and see me. I might have to let him in if he carries on barking. I might even hold him up to the camera and let you see him. He'll love that. Except he can't see you, obviously. So yeah, so stabilising the shoulders, as I was saying. I don't actually hang my knit tops on hangers. I just fold them and put them into drawers. So I don't tend to stabilise the shoulders anymore because I don't feel that they need it. They don't stretch out at all because, like I said, I don't hang them on hangers. But if you were to hang your tops on hangers, then it would be a good idea to stabilise your shoulders, because obviously then that would stop the shoulder seam from stretching out. I've also got my little stickers, I don't know if you can see that, on the wrong side of my pattern pieces or my fabric pieces, so I know I'm getting the right sides together when I'm pinning. I know some people use clips, don't they, for to hold knit fabric together, but I just gravitate towards pins. I guess it's what I'm used to. So yeah, let's just find my other shoulder, which seems to be astray some here. There we go. And I'll pin these together, and then we can stitch them on the overlocker. I do tend to stitch my knit garments together on the overlocker rather straight away, and use a 4-thread overlock seam rather than stitching on the sewing machine first. I just find, for me, it's a lot quicker. It's just as secure as stitching with stitching a seam on the sewing machine and then overlocking to neaten the seams. It's just a lot quicker and possibly more accurate as well for me. I'm going to have to let Max the dog in. Let me just put the seam together, then I'll invite him into my sewing room. I'm going to have to, he'll probably lie down on the floor, so I will be tripping over him or moving him. Just 1 second. Are you coming in? Are you coming in? Are you coming in? Are you coming in? Come on. No, he's decided he's not coming in whatsoever. He's just going to bark and make a nuisance of himself. I do apologise about that. Yeah, he's a King Charles Cavalier. He's 13. I might have to get him in because he will bark. So, right, off I go. So hopefully I'm all plugged in. And I'm going to start sewing my seams. So, yeah, I'm going to do my shoulder seam here. I'm going to make sure that they are shoulder seams and I haven't pinned together some obscure seam. Because I've done that before when I've been sewing. I think I pinned the crotch of a pair of shorts to the inside leg and then wondered why my seams were completely wrong and the whole garment looked weird. So yeah, I have done that before. Right, okay, so I'm going to take out the pins as I go so that I don't have any accidents with my blade. So I don't know, are you sewing along at the moment? I hope you are. It'd be quite nice if you are. It'd be quite nice for you to be sewing at the same time as myself. It's one shoulder seam done. I'm just going to do my other shoulder seam. I have a Jaguar 2015 overlocker, which is really lovely because the whole front of the overlocker opens, so it's very nice and easy to rethread. It really is a workhorse because I use it an awful lot. I sew every day, obviously, because I have a sewing business as well. So the Jaguar is absolutely wonderful. It really is a workhorse. There we go. So they are my shoulder seams. I'm just going to trim my ends off and then press my seams. I'm quite a tidy sewer and always put my bits into the bin when I've finished. So I'll just press my shoulder seams for you. Like I said, I'm going to have to move my camera around quite a lot because my workroom is actually quite small and I'm not used to having a camera and a tripod in the room with me because it's got quite wide legs at the bottom. So yeah, so let's just get that to the right temperature. I'm going to have a quick sip of tea. We've got a nice hot beverage today with you. Sewing's always better with tea, isn't it? So let's just press these seams. I always press my seams 4 times. I press them, stitching once at the front of the seam, at the back of the seam, and then press the seam to one side of the rear or the wrong side of the fabric, and then turn my garment to the right side and press the right side as well. So I think I probably spend an awful lot more time pressing than I actually do sewing. But for me, that's part of a well-made, remade garment. So I'm just going to press my seams to the back. Now I can't see because my glasses have completely steamed up. I'm not used to seeing my glasses because I take them off usually when I'm recording a video for YouTube. but I can't actually see to sew without them. So I had to wear them today, and I do know that the light from the ring light glares off the glasses quite a lot. So that's my seams. Shoulder seams completed. There we go. And now I'm going to pop in the roll neck. So I'm going to leave my partly constructed top there for a moment and find my neck piece. I've decided to use the deeper roll neck for this, which is this piece. The pattern does have kind of a half size roll neck as well, which literally is half the size of this. I already have a black roll neck sweater, which I wear quite a lot, and I think it's because it's a classic colour and it's a classic style. It does tend to go with everything. So you can wear it with a skirt, you can wear it with jeans, etc. And I do get an awful lot of wear out of it. So what we're going to do is, make sure it's the right side, yeah. Put our seam together on our collar piece. Just going to pin that again. And we're going to stitch the collar, and then we're going to press up, obviously press that seam and then half it and stitch it into the neck. There we go. So guys, if you're on the sew along, what have you been doing today? Who have you been watching? What have you been sewing? Are you sewing at the same time? You know, what's going on? Have you had a good time on a sew-a-thon? I'd have loved actually to have sewn all day for 24 hours until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. But unfortunately, I'd be too tired to stitch through the night. So anybody who's doing that, fantastic. You know, I think that's an amazing thing to achieve. Yeah, I couldn't do that. I'd literally be asleep, I think. I'm not concentrating, and I'd probably overlock my finger to something. So yeah, so here we go. So I'm going to just run the overlocker down this seam as well. Oops. It is actually a bit of a curved side seam on this roll neck, which does help the fit because it's slightly narrower around the fold. But it's a bit more difficult to stitch because you have to follow that curve. I'm not a super speedy sewer at all, I am quite slow. But I do like to be accurate, and I like things to finish nicely, like I said. There we go. So that's the side seam of my neck done. It's nice and stretchy, as you can see. There we go. So I'm just going to, the other thing I do is turn my overlocker off when I step away from it, because I've actually had Max, who's currently outside my workroom, walk under the table, step onto the foot pedal, and it's gone, and I've had my hands so close to the blade and everything. So yeah, I don't do that anymore, just in case he steps on it and I get a bit of a shock. So yeah, he's currently out the workroom at the moment, like I've said. But I might just have to let him in if he carries on barking. So I'm just gonna press my. Oh dear, that was bad, wasn't it? Things that happen on a live YouTube. Here we go. Oh my word. Right, we're back. There we go. I'm so sorry about that. Press buttons and everything. I'm so sorry. Oh, goodness me. Right, so I have got my collar. So let's press that. I never expected that to happen. I never expected my phone to fly out of my hand and out of the holder there. But yeah, I guess that's what happens, doesn't it? Oh dear me! I bet that hasn't happened. It's so over it. Or any other professional kind of setup. Right, I'm just going to press my seam. There we go. One way. Other. I'm just going to press it to one side. I'm going to use my tailor's ham for this. Let's pop it over and just press it. Press it that way, I think. There we go. So I get a nice curve on it. I think what I'll do is actually find the middle of this seam and just give it a snip, and then we can press one part of the seam one way and the other part of the seam the other way. So it's easier. Just excuse me for a second. So let's press one seam one way, which we had already, and we can press this seam facing in the other direction. So that when they're together to form a collar, they will be in opposite directions and the seam won't be as bulky. So I'm now going to press from the right side, like I said. So, pressing from the right side. That's that one. Pressing from this side as well. There we go. This is not very interesting to watch, I have to say, but yeah. Has to be done, unfortunately. And now I'm going to turn my collar so that it's, or place my collar so that the bottom of the collar is all together. I'm going to do that here now and then press around the top. Somebody probably just heard that. One of my neighbours keeps chickens, and there's suddenly a cock crowing. So yeah, been crowing all day. It didn't crow this morning, so it's not too bad, I suppose. Is that correct? I think so. So let's now get my sleeve board. And I will press this collar so that it's a nice loop, as you can see there. So let's do that. How long have I got? I'm coming up for half an hour already. I'm not going to finish this today, but it would have been nice to. I'll certainly get a good way on it. Like I said, I think if you're a quick sewer, you could get this done. But obviously I'm chatting as well in the meantime. And yeah. So there we go. So at least the washing machine's finished, so we're not having that whirring in the background. I'm just going to make sure my raw edges are together so I can press. What you could do, of course, is to baste around the raw edges so you've got your collar together and you know that it's together. Nicely. It's not going to slip. Just do that bit again. There we go. While we're chatting, do any of you go to sewing classes at all? I went to sewing class at one stage. It was City and Guilds class. Yeah, really enjoyed it until I had to make myself a pair of trousers, and couldn't understand why, no matter what adjustments I made to my garment each week, they never fitted. It's a nice fitted pair of trousers. And the teacher said, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. I go away and make the adjustments. And these trousers never ever fitted at all. And I didn't know why. Until I found out I expected my son. So those trousers were never going to fit me, ultimately. So yeah, I didn't finish the trousers, ever. I never finished them. And after a few weeks after that, I stopped going to my City and Guild sewing classes because there wasn't really much point, because no matter what I made, it wasn't going to fit me. So I gave up. But luckily, my mum taught me how to sew. She's 90 now, so yeah, she doesn't really sew anymore because she just can't stand and press things like this anymore. Because she's too frail and her eyesight really isn't good enough. So anything she wants making, I will make it for her, because she taught me to sew and gave me the gift of the enjoyment of sewing. So yeah, anything she wants making, knitting, did I say knitting? Anything she wants sewing, I'm quite happy to sew it for her. There we go. So that is my collar. Just got a bit of a wrinkle in it somewhere here. Schmacks. Yeah, it's there, look. Yeah, it's the wrong way slightly. Let's sort that out. Got to go that way. Make sure it's neat before we carry on. Max! Shh, shh, shh. There we go, that's better. Yeah, I got both the seams there facing in one direction, so they were kind of lumpy, and they're still lumpy. What's going on? There we go. That's better. They're not lumpy now. So I just give that a press. I don't want a lumpy side seam if I can help it. So there we go. That's my collar. And now we're ready to attach that to our neckline. So I'm just going to let that settle for just a moment. Settle for my iron. And go back to the overlocker. I'm just going to move the tripod again. Okay, it's getting a bit warm in my sewing room. Okay. One of the main reasons, by the way, that I wanted to do this for mine, I'm just going to grab my tea from behind here, is that Mind is a UK charity, and they're dedicated to helping people with mental health issues. And I don't mention it very often on my channel at all, but I do have bipolar myself. I have cyclothymia, which isn't as bad as bipolar 1 or bipolar 2, but it certainly has an effect on my life. And this is why I have my own sewing business. I make vintage style accessories. But yeah, I take medication for my bipolar. That's sometimes why I'm not on YouTube as often as I would like to be, because sometimes I don't feel like being sociable at all. So yeah, I do know what having poor mental health is like. It's not a fun ride. So if you can donate anything at all to Mind UK to fund somebody to let Max in, because he is barking quite a lot. Let's let him in, shall we? Gonna have to move everything all over again. You coming in? You coming in? Come on, you come. Come in. Come on, come on. Doesn't want to come in at all. I think he actually wants a few treats. So I'll give them to him after we've done the filming. So let's get back to the live. Sorry about that. So where were we? We were putting our collar into our neckline, weren't we? So I'll just grab my top bodice. Here we go. I'm going to put the roll collar on. So I'm going to decide, well, I know which is the front and the back. So I'm going to orientate my back and my front. The front is obviously slightly lower than the back. And I like my roll collar seam to be on the left hand side. So it's going to go that way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is find the quarter points of my collar and the quarter points of my neckline. I'm going to just trim these slightly. And just clean my glasses slightly because I can't see. There we go. So I'm just going to find my quarter points. I'm going to start at my collar seam and then find the halfway point just by folding like that. Halfway point is there. And then finding my quarter points. So if I put my halfway points together, I'll then find my quarter points by folding in half, and the quarter points are obviously here. If you want to be far more accurate, of course, you can find where the 8s are on the collar. But for a collar or neckband, usually quartering the band and the neckline is plenty. So there we go. Oops. What's fighting amongst itself here to stick together? I think it's about there. I'm just going to pop in another pin. So my quarter points are now marked on my collar, and I'm going to do the same on the neckline itself as well. After a cup of tea, a sip of tea. So here we go with my neckline. Just going to trim this a little bit. There we go. So I've got a pin in there. And I'm going to find the halfway point. So again, doing this. And it's just slightly towards the front of the neckline there. And then put those two pins together. Like I said, you can then find the quarter points, like so. And again here. So here we go. There's no way I'm going to finish this, is there? It's just, I've got so much to do. I've got to put the collar in, stitch around the base of the collar. I've got to put the sleeves in. So I'm not going to be able to finish this in an hour. I don't know, can you actually finish a top in an hour? I've got it out, like I said, earlier on today, just before I started the live, and marked the areas, not the notches on the garment, but I'm not going to make it in an hour. So yeah, I'm really envious of people who can make things in an hour, to be honest. So let's pin our neckband onto that, our roll collar. So I am with my, okay, that's what I'm going, is that right? Have I got my front facing the right way? Yes, I have. Okay, so I'll take my collar, and what we're going to do is pin it around the neckline and match my pins up. So I have to get this right. I need to pin this way, so my neckline is on the outside of my collar, and then the seam will be flipped into the inside, and then I will stitch around it. So takes a little bit of time for me, like I said, because I'm not a mega fast sewer. I like to take my time. Sewing for me is it's a really relaxing hobby. It's, you know, stitching every stitch, enjoying every stitch, and just enjoying the moment and the peace. And I like to listen to a nice podcast when I'm stitching. Sometimes I listen to sewing channels when I'm stitching away. And it's just at the end, you know, when you actually finish a garment and you've enjoyed making it, that's the whole, for me, that's just, it's such good therapy for me. Okay, now my collar is, oh, it's not quite in. There we go. And pin there. So you can see I've got my collar pinned to my top. It looks a bit of a scraggy mess at the moment. But yeah, that's, can you see my collar pin there? I just have to make sure that it's correct. Yeah. Now what I would normally do is oops, I've lost a bit of my collar here. No, I haven't. So what I would normally do now is overlock my roll neck onto my top and then press my seam so my collar is then attached, and then stitch a line of sewing just to hold that seam down. I don't actually think I'm going to have time to do it because my hour is coming up now. So I shall probably finish my tea and carry on doing this for the rest of the afternoon, and I will show you my finished top on my next YouTube video, I think, because I have actually spotted I've gone wrong somewhere on it. What I've done is it's really difficult to see the front and the back of the bodice pieces, and I've actually stitched the inside of the bodice as the right side. So what I would like to do is undo that, or the stitching on the shoulders there, and make it properly. Otherwise I won't actually wear it if I carry on. So much for me doing a top in an hour. It's never going to happen, was it? Yeah, but as I've completely messed up stitching the back and the fronts together wrongly, I'm going to have to undo that because the perfectionist in me will not let me do that. So I'm going to undo it. So if you've managed to watch this far, thank you very much indeed. If you'd like to make a donation to Mind, please do. I will pop the link into the comments section of this live video when it's processed and goes into onto YouTube. Apologies for all the mistakes, dog barking, phone slipping out of my hand, stitching this together wrongly. Yeah, it's quite embarrassing really, but I had to go, didn't I? So yeah, that's probably the end of my live for today when I go and sort out the mistake that I made, but I will have a top ready and waiting for my next YouTube video. Until I see you again, happy sewing, bye bye.